The studio lights beamed down hot and sharp on the glossy set of America at Night, a primetime political talk show airing live to millions. The camera zoomed in as the theme music faded, and the host, Julian Marks, flashed his practiced smile. "Welcome back to America at Night," he said, turning slightly toward his guest. "We're here with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat from Texas, and no stranger to headlines." Crockett grinned confidently, her posture relaxed but her eyes sharp. "Thanks for having me, Julian. I've been looking forward to this." They exchanged a few light pleasantries before the host tried to pivot into the topic of infrastructure legislation, holding up a graph on rural broadband expansion. But Crockett leaned in slightly, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Now, before we dive into roads and Wi-Fi, can I just say something that's been buzzing around DC like a broken drone?" Julian arched a brow, immediately wary. "Well, sure. What's on your mind?" She leaned forward, speaking slowly and clearly and knowing full well they were live and the studio was locked in. "I just find it fascinating how certain folks love preaching about law and order, but they bend every rule when it comes to their own house. I mean, did you all know that someone made their wife sign a postnuptial agreement so she couldn't testify against them later?" There was a fractional pause, just enough to feel the shock settle in. Julian's eyes widened. He coughed awkwardly. "Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you referring to I'm not naming names," Crockett said, barely suppressing a smile, "but let's just say the initials are DT, and the D definitely doesn't stand for a devoted husband." A low gasp rippled through the live studio audience. The producers scrambled in the control room. Twitter notifications exploded across phones in every corner of the set. Julian raised both hands, trying to steer the ship back on course. "Now, Congresswoman, we can't verify that," Crockett cut in smoothly. "Don't worry, I've got receipts, but I'll save those for a special occasion." Before Julian could respond, the producers abruptly cut to commercial, a giant red break flashing on the screen. Off-air, the crew was already swarming, phones to ears, trying to manage the incoming media firestorm. On screen, the audience saw only a banner teasing more after the break, but the damage or revelation had already landed. The gilded double doors of Trump's private office at Mar-a-Lago slammed shut with a thunderous thud. A marble vase on a nearby pedestal rattled. Inside, the tension was suffocating. Donald Trump paced in tight circles, red in the face, clenching his phone so hard his knuckles were pale. The TV on the wall played a loop of Jasmine Crockett's late-night zinger. Every few seconds, her words echoed through the room again. Postnuptial agreement so she couldn't testify against him. Latter broken bar. His jaw tightened with every repetition. "She's lying," he barked, pointing at the screen as if it had personally offended him. "Lying, a disgrace, complete fabrication." "Postnup? What even is a postnup?" "That's not a thing. I never heard of it." Across the room, a trio of advisors sat stiffly on a velvet couch. No one dared to make direct eye contact. One of them, Brianna, Trump's legal liaison, finally mustered the courage to speak. "Sir, with all due respect," Brian said carefully, "a postnup is a thing, and a broken bar, well, there was something drawn up in 2018 after the Stormy Daniels followed. You advised strongly advised to have Melania sign it for, protection." Trump whirled around, eyes bulging. "Protection? I don't need protection from my own wife. That's the dumbest thing I have ever heard. You think I'm afraid of Melania?" He paused. There was a long, awkward silence. Then he mumbled, "Okay, maybe a little." He dropped onto his gold-trimmed chair behind the massive desk, still fuming. He jabbed his finger against the phone screen, trying to pull up Truth Social. "She thinks she can say anything, and the fake news will eat it up. I want a statement, a press release. Know it better, make a video. I'll record it in front of the fountain. Something classy." Strong lighting. Another aide, Marcy, tried to reason with him. "Sir, we need to tread carefully. If there's documentation." "Documentation? You think she has the document?" "No chance. That was sealed. Melania's lawyer handled it. She said she has receipts, sir." Trump blinked. "I have receipts, too," he said defiantly. "I have millions of receipts. I bought steaks, ties, buildings as some of the best receipts in the world." Brian's mouth opened, then closed again. Trump shot up from his seat, slamming both hands on the desk. Call Roger Stone. Get Hannity. I want Crockett obliterated, ruined. Call her a liar. Say she hates men. Say she's jealous of Melania. She is, by the way. Everyone is. Marcy added softly, do you want to notify Melania, sir? Trump froze. A long silence. He taped his ring finger on the desk. A broken bar, no, he said flatly. She's at the spa in Lake Como. She's calm. Let's not ruin that. Another silence. This one was almost respectful. Then Trump looked up suddenly, eyes wide. Though what if Melania gave it to her? All three aides looked at one another. Now they were nervous. The CNN newsroom buzzed with energy. Phones were ringing off the hook. Producers huddled over monitors, and an emergency graphics package had been whipped together overnight. A bold red banner flashing across the bottom of the screen. #Postnupgate, Crockett vs. Trump. In the main studio, the sleek, glass-walled set was lit up like a stage. Jasmine Crockett sat poised in her tailored royal blue blazer, her signature hoop earrings catching the light. She looked composed, confident, almost amused. Opposite her, morning anchor Rachel Lynch shuffled her cue cards nervously. She wasn't sure if this was going to be a political interview or a verbal bomb detonation. Congresswoman Crockett, Rachel began, trying to keep her voice measured, you made headlines last night. Some would say you detonated a political grenade by claiming that former President Trump made the First Lady sign a postnuptial agreement. Would you like to clarify your comments? Crockett didn't blink. She folded her hands and leaned forward slightly. Clarify? She said with a soft chuckle. Rachel, I don't make habit of saying things I need to clarify. I said what I said. The control room went silent, waiting. Rachel hesitated. Are you saying you have proof of this? That you've seen the Postnup? Crockett tilted her head. I'm saying that if you hang around Washington long enough, you learn who keeps what in what drawer. And let's just say she reached down beside her and dramatically placed a closed manila folder on the desk. Some drawers have very interesting contents. Rachel's eyes locked on the folder. You're telling us that folder contains evidence? She asked carefully. I'm telling you this, Crockett replied, her voice smooth as velvet. If Donald Trump wants to call me a liar, he's more than welcome to release the document himself. I won't hold my breath. The camera zoomed in ever so slightly. Social media was already on fire. The words folder, receipts, and Melania trending within seconds. But, Rachel pushed, if this is real, why not release it yourself? Crockett smiled, just enough to hint at trouble. Because I'm not in the business of embarrassing wives for their husbands' messes, but I am in the business of calling out hypocrisy, and the way this man weaponizes loyalty while hiding behind paperwork is something the American people deserve to understand. Rachel sat back. You understand the legal and political ramifications of saying this on live television? I understand that Donald Trump spent 4 years turning the presidency into a personal insurance policy, Crockett replied. If a woman protecting herself from his potential legal exposure bothers him, maybe he should have thought about that before he made her sign anything. The anchor went quiet. Producers were already buzzing in her earpiece, pushing her to cut to commercial, but Crockett leaned back, arms folded across her chest. And let's not pretend this is just about marriage, she added. This is about character and accountability. And I don't mind being the one to say the quiet part out loud. As the show faded to commercial, the studio lights dimmed. The camera lingered just long enough on that mysterious folder before the screen went black. In homes across the country, people sat up straighter on their couches. And somewhere in Florida, someone had just thrown a Diet Coke at the wall. The sun was beginning to set over Dayton, Ohio, casting a golden glow over a massive open-air rally packed with thousands of flag-waving supporters. Red hats bobbed like buoys in a restless sea of noise. God Bless the USA blared over the speakers, followed by chants of USA, USA, as Donald Trump's private jet buzzed overhead for dramatic effect. Moments later, the former president emerged from behind a massive curtain, his signature stride exaggerated, fists pumping. The crowd erupted in cheers, and the cameras zoomed in as he took the stage, flanked by massive screens showing American eagles, burning gas prices, and edited clips of Democrats frowning. Trump stood at the podium, breathing heavily. But something was off. His usual bravado had a nervous edge tonight. He looked out at the crowd, then adjusted his red tie with a slightly twitchy hand. "Thank you, Ohio." He bellowed into the mic. "What a great, beautiful crowd. Truly patriotic. Tremendous people. Just incredible." The cheers continued, but his usual rhythm was off. He stalled, looked down at his notes, then abruptly veered off script. "So look," he began, smirking. "They're talking about my marriage now. That's their latest thing. Can you believe it? These people, these sick, twisted people, they're obsessed." Laughter rippled from the crowd, but not as loudly as usual. "They say I made Melania sign some kind of—" "What was it, Postnup? What even is that?" he said, feigning confusion. "Sounds like a new sandwich at Subway." A few chuckles broke out, but it felt forced. Trump scanned the faces in front of him and pressed on. "They want you to believe I don't love my wife. I love my wife so much, more than anyone ever has. More than any president ever has loved a first lady. That I can tell you." A few more cheers. A banner waved. "Trump hearts Melania. And by the way," he added quickly, "Melania is doing great. Fantastic. She's on a very luxurious, very long spa retreat. You know, self-care. She deserves it. Big league pampering." A few murmurs moved through the crowd. Some attendees exchanged puzzled looks. One woman near the front yelled, "Where's Melania?" Trump's face twitched. He pointed into the distance. "She's relaxing. Unlike Jasmine Crockett, who's out there waving folders like she's on a Judge Judy. Did you see that? Holding a folder, making up lies. Total lies. Deranged stuff." He raised his hand and mimicked holding a folder with a pout. "Oh, I have receipts," he mocked in a high-pitched voice. "She's got nothing. Zero. That folder probably had her lunch menu in it." The crowd laughed louder this time, warming up. Trump seized the moment. "These people don't want the truth. They want drama. They want to distract from what I've really done, like rebuilding our military, fixing our economy, and keeping Crooked Joe in the basement where he belongs." He was getting his rhythm back, leaning into his usual hits. "And let me tell you something else. No piece of paper defines my marriage. Nobody's ever seen a love like mine and Melania's, okay? She picked me, and she's still with me." Which says a lot. But even as the applause grew, there was a flicker of something in Trump's eyes, uncertainty, perhaps. He glanced briefly toward stage left, where an aide was holding a phone with a live feed of CNN. Jasmine Crockett was trending again. The folder was now being analyzed like the Zapruder film. Trump straightened his tie again, muttered, "Fake news," under his breath, and forced a smile. As the crowd erupted into more chants of Trump, 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 he threw a red cap into the audience and waved both arms triumphantly. But deep in the back of his mind, he knew something had changed. For once, he wasn't the only one in control of the narrative.